This episode of the Dungeoncast has been brought to you by Hero Forge. Hero Forge has fully customizable tabletop miniatures with dozens of fantasy races and thousands of parts to choose from. Their easy-to-use design tool lets you build the perfect miniature online using a fully 3D in-depth character creator right in your web browser. There are plastic and metal options for your custom mini. And Hero Forge even offers downloadable model files for users to 3D print their unique designs at home. Plus, they're constantly expanding the catalog of customization options. They're adding new parts every week and major features like races and custom posing on a regular basis. All you have to do is go to heroforge.com and you can start designing your custom mini today. It's super easy. And don't forget to check back and visit them every now and again because they're always adding new content. One more time, that's heroforge.com.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Dungeoncast. I'm Will.
I'm Brian.
This is the podcast where we talk about everything Dungeons and Dragons, from bridges of bone to bloody bears. And today we're talking about Banshees and we're talking about Will-O-Wisps. The Dungeoncast. It's the kickoff of our Spooktacular Spookfest.
It's Halloween.
Yeah, for all of October, we're doing scary monsters.
October has come. Is this episode 152?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is.
I don't keep track of the numbers.
Oh, well, we're getting close to our 1 year anniversary or 3 year anniversary of the podcast.
Indeed, and it's been a great 3 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's get into it. Let's start talking about scary monsters, starting with the Banshee.
Spooky, white, scary lady.
Yeah.
Screaming at you.
And that ends today's episode.
There you go. I did it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Check out Super Quest Saga. See you later.
So in D&D, the Banshee, or also known as the Groaning Spirit, is an undead spirit of woe, envy, and spite, formed specifically from the spirit of a female and, depending on addition, specifically of a female elf. Banshees are famed for their envy and wrath for the living, their hideous visage, and their legendary wail, powerful enough to not only hurt the living, but to kill them. D&D Banshees are directly based off of their counterpart from ancient Irish folklore of the same name.
Oh, cool.
So, in Irish mythology, the Banshee was considered to be a fairy spirit who heralded the death of a family member by wailing, shrieking, or keening. The descriptions of the Banshee vary, but they are always female, and some counts depict the Banshee as a long-haired woman with eyes red from crying, dressed in a gray cloak. Others describe a red-haired woman with a gauntly, ghastly visage. Some take the appearance of a dead female relative, and some counts tell of a flying woman veiled and shrouded in the night.
It's just you die, you're an old woman and you die and you're pissed about it and you come back as a ghost and you're like, fuck!
Right. Well,
and
in
everyone
this case,
freaks out.
These are supposed to be like fairy spirits that come to warn you, hey, a family member's going to die.
Oh, like they're the precursor to
They're
death.
the precursor. They're a harbinger, yeah.
Oh, it's time to travel 3 towns over to where Auntie May lives.
Yeah, because she's about to go.
Die.
Right.
Yeah.
And like there was even some folklore of like specifically Irish or Scottish families each had a specific Banshee assigned to them, like
oh my god,
a Banshee spirit assigned to the family.
Can you imagine like kicking open the door? Patricia, pack your bags. A ghost woman just screamed at me in the garden.
Right. So regardless, to hear a Banshee, it was said, was a warning of death near at hand, and it's thought that the origins of this legend actually likely stem from the ancient profession, and I think this might be a profession that's still ongoing, I'm not actually sure, but the ancient profession of the keening woman. So this is a traditional form of mourning the dead from Ireland, a sort of wailing of a song or poem that was actually a profession, and the best keeners would be high in demand, and these keening women would be hired to attend a funeral and do
just
this
fucking
kind
yell.
Well, it's not a yelling. It's like it is kind of a yelling, but it's a wailing of song and poetry, if you will.
That's
I'm
sure it's
I should have
beautiful.
YouTubed keening woman to just see what comes up. I should have, but I didn't. So I can't describe it to you.
Like I'm just trying to like go back in time and picture how this like first started. And it's just people like upset and just like yelling. Mm-hmm. Oh man.
I'm sure. And maybe like reciting like some sort of like poem or song that really like resonated with either them or the person who died. I could see that turning into a tradition. Like I could see how that would come about.
Yeah.
Right. So anyways, let's go back to D&D.
Yes.
So in D&D, Banshees are the undead remnants of women, or often elven women, who were blessed with great beauty in life, but while living, specifically use their beauty to corrupt and control others. So now this is where lore the lore really kind of solidifies that banshees should almost always be elven specifically, since elves are the children of Corellon and are thus naturally predisposed to be beings of good. Elves that end up turning to evil often risk terrible fates. In this case, beautiful elven women that use their beauty for evil can become inflicted with what is called the Banshee's curse. So elves afflicted by this curse slowly but surely lose all the gladness in their life.
Oh, no.
They begin to feel only distress and envy of all the people around them. And as the curse takes its toll, the victim's beauty, mind, and health will unnaturally decay speedily. And until upon an early death, their transformation into an undead horror is complete.
Ooh, so that's probably a crazy transformation for an elf woman.
Yeah.
To, like, die around, 500 years old because you're, totally messing with the balance or whatever.
Right, exactly.
The universe decides to curse you. Is this like a direct, residual? Do we have the origin of the curse? Is it, something left over from Corellon or,
Not stated. Nothing stated.
What the Grumsh, man. Some Grumsh shit. Grumsh is like, if you are dumb about how good you look, then I'm going to turn you into, I'm going to make you scream a lot.
Right, exactly. Exactly that. That's how that works.
Okay.
So banshees appear as luminous, wispy phantoms that vaguely resemble their mortal forms. Their hair wild and tangled, and their clothes nothing more than wispy rags fluttering about them. Their visage is said to be horrific, terribly ugly and decayed, with only a hint suggesting of past beauty and life. Banshees lead an existence of pain and sorrow. Sorrow over their lost beauty and life, and pain from the curse and the emptiness and loneliness of their existence. They absolutely loathe all living things, viewing them with jealousy and contempt, and they long for what they used to possess and kill all who remind them of their sorrow, which is everyone.
Horny bards beware. You can tell it was hot once.
Right, exactly. Not that should matter, but yeah, sure, absolutely.
You know how some people are with their bards.
It's true. I know how some people are with their bards, and it's weird, but you know what? It's D&D. Do what makes you happy.
What makes you happy?
Despite all the tragedy that has befallen a banshee, they remain guilty of their former vanity and greed. So they don't really learn from their situation. Because take it, if they had, the curse probably would have been lifted. Okay. And they wouldn't be here if that had been the case.
In this yelling purgatory where your throat is always sore.
Right.
Okay.
So as such, banshees covet objects of beauty and former creature comforts from their past lives. So they will collect fine jewelry, fine statues, furniture, and other objects in an almost dragon-like hoard.
Ooh.
Yeah. The only fine objects banshees will not tolerate in their presence are mirrors or objects with reflective surfaces, because banshees cannot bear to see the horror of their own existence.
Yeah, acrylic vases only, please.
Indeed. A single glimpse of themselves is enough to throw a banshee into a furious rage.
And they'll destroy their house hoard.
Indeed.
That D&D Cribs, welcome to my banshee house.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, I collected lots of oil paintings.
So previous editions of D&D propose that banshees wander the land in search of a lair that is remote and bereft of living things, usually settling in a desolate countryside, desolate countryside or ancient ruins. Once a banshee establishes their lair, they remain there permanently, encircling their territory, crying and wailing and killing anything that lives in their presence.
My God.
They transform their territory into a desolate wasteland without plants, or whatever plants do survive are twisted and wrong and strewn with the animal bones of the creatures that they killed. They can't tolerate anything living in their presence.
They just go into a clearing and start yelling, and a bird flies out scared as fuck.
Right.
They, grab it out of the air and eat it.
Yeah, I could see a banshee doing something like that. Yeah.
Just
now 5e
forever.
5e actually posits that banshees are forever bound to the location where they died, unable to venture more than 5 miles from their location, which is really fucking awkward if they died in the middle of their elven village. So I'm not sure how that works. Although I guess the elves probably have ways of casting banshees out.
Go away. Go to the light.
You can also argue that since the banshee's curse does take some time to go into effect, the would-be banshee probably fled into reclusivity because of their transformation.
I need to go find a dope empty house.
Well, probably just I can't let anyone see me like this. I look horrible.
Yeah, and I need to find an empty dead house so I can do my refurbish of it when I die.
Although I think a truly vindictive person who, I mean, they probably are pretty vindictive if they have the Banshee's curse, because that's how they got there in the first place.
They're going to go die in your fucking
I'm
kitchen.
dying in the middle of town fucking square. And there's nothing you can do about it. Can you
imagine like a wood elf just like running from out of the forest and they've got the Banshee shit all over them? Yeah. They're like running towards the fountain in the center of town to go drown themselves.
Right, yeah.
And like all the villagers are like coming out with their crossbows and shit, like trying to stop them.
We got to kill her outside of town.
No.
So stupid.
They die. They succeed and they're like, damn it. And then they're just like a ghost like yelling.
We all have to move. She's like, ah! Just constantly, just fuck.
There's like centaurs out in the woods that are like, damn it.
Right, exactly.
Not again. We gotta go.
So being undead misery monsters, banshees don't have many allies.
Yeah.
Those they do have are almost always powerful evil entities capable of either subduing or subjugating them, such as death knights, liches, wizards, vampires, etc. Fun facts, I got 2. 1, banshees have perfect memories and are unable to forget any detail of their past lives, thus accentuating their misery.
Nice.
Number 2, the wail of the banshee serves as a lure as much as a warning. Many gallant knights have been destroyed when mistaking the mourning shriek of a banshee for the cry of a living woman in pain that they rushed to aid.
Dope, like a siren.
Like a siren, kind of.
Yeah, I got a pro gamer tip for all you out there. If you get a banshee in the middle of your town and you want to neutralize it, you need to kill another banshee right next to it, or let a banshee die, like a person become a banshee right next to it, and then they'll get in a yelling match and they'll look directly at each other, and their shouting will phase cancel, and they'll just be two ghosts like looking
Screaming
really
at
mad,
each
like
other?
screaming, but you can't hear anything.
Can't hear anything. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then you could call cleric in.
A+ tip. Any other questions about banshees before we look at their stat block?
No.
All right, so banshees are challenge rating 4, so they're pretty potent beast. They can detect life magically, so banshee can magically sense the presence of living creatures up to 5 miles away. Wow, that is
pretty far.
Do not enter a banshee's territory.
Yeah,
knowingly.
It's basically
she's gonna know you're there.
treat it like Kit Kat bars at like a campground.
Yeah, being basically
lock up your life.
Being essentially phantoms or ghosts, they have a lot of resistances and immunity. So they are resistant to acid, fire, lightning, thunder, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical weapons, and they're completely immune to cold, necrotic, and poison. They're also immune to a lot of conditions, being undead, charmed, exhausted, frightened, grappled, paralyzed, petrified, poisoned, prone, or restrained. All impossible for the banshee.
I haven't been able to lay down since I died.
Indeed. Right, exactly. They got dark vision, obviously. They can speak whatever languages they could in life. Incorporeal movement. Banshee can move through other creatures and objects as if they were difficult terrain. She takes 1d10 force damage if she ends her turn inside of an object. That object is lane. I feel if they try and end their turn inside of a living creature, they should take damage. But an object, I don't feel like they should take damage.
Or maybe just like they are forced 5 feet to one side or the other.
Right, I can see that too. But let's get into their actions. So they got 3 major actions. The first being Corrupting Touch, which is +4 to hit. It's essentially a necrotic attack, 3d6 + 2 if they touch you. But the 2 more interesting abilities, the first being Horrifying Visage. Each non-undead creature within 60 feet of the Banshee that can see her must succeed on a DC 13 Wisdom saving throw or be frightened for 1 minute. A frightened target can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns with disadvantage if the Banshee is within line of sight. So that disadvantage makes it a little more potent. Ending the effect on itself on a success. If a target's saving throw is successful, they are immune to the Banshee's Horrifying Visage for the next 24 hours. So good for them. But here's the kicker. Here's the real big one. The Wail. They only get 1 of these a day, which doesn't sound canon. But I guess they're always wailing, but then they have their special wail.
They only need 1 because it never fucking stops.
There we go. I like that.
They go to bed and they wake up and they get 1 more.
Fucking stops. So their wail, they're once a day. The Banshee releases a mournful wail provided that she isn't in sunlight. This wail has no effect on constructs or undead, but all other creatures within 30 feet of her that can hear her must make a DC 13 Constitution saving throw. On a failure, a creature drops to 0 hit points.
Oh.
On a success, the creature takes 3d6 psychic damage.
Oh.
So that can be brutal if she hits all 5 members of the party or whatever, and 3 of them drop or 2 of them drop. Like, that is rough.
Yikes.
Indeed. So that's the Banshee. I think it's a really interesting monster. I've never actually used one, I don't think. I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever utilized a Banshee in any of my games, but
It's
I'm
a trap.
starting.
It's a trap that your rogue can't disarm.
Indeed.
The Banshee just incorporeally like comes out of the well nearby
Right.
and screams at you and you all die.
I have been getting tingles of inspiration for another Halloween adventure.
Ooh.
I don't think it's going to happen this year, but I might be crafting a really nice adventure for next year. We'll see.
I love nice adventures.
With that being said, let's take a short rest.
Okay. Hey everybody, welcome to the part of the episode we're not talking about that last thing anymore. We're talking about the new shit. The love shit. Love you.
That good love shit.
Delicious.
And how we love you.
I'm going to eat it up like candy, all this love.
Great. Oh, gosh.
Thanks for listening to the show. For
Thank you.
For telling people about the show.
Thank you.
And for just all the
For just being here.
Yeah, dude.
Thank you.
Super chill. Love you guys. New contest alert.
It's true. We're launching a new contest right after the last one where we gave away
A book.
Oh God, what was it? Descent into Avernus, which we just gave away, and our contest winner just got her book. So congratulations to our last contest winner. But yes, we're giving away the new book, Eberron: Rising from the Last War, which is going to be the new official Eberron setting for 5e D&D. This is kind of a big one, guys. So
Totally.
I'm excited for it.
It's got a dinosaur and a robot and a dude with the boomerang on the front.
Nice.
pretty sick.
And yeah, so this is we did have Wayfinder's Guide to Eberron. It was technically official, but it was PDF only, and it was also like this weird living document situation where they were like, it's this way, but we can change it at any moment. And now we're getting this official published thing, so I'm really excited.
Yeah, thank you, Wizards, for saving us just before our giant folly of doing the Eberron episode before
Right,
this. We had it
exactly.
scheduled to come on like right around the time of this episode, but yeah.
Now we're gonna wait for this book to come out.
'cause
But
why wouldn't we wait?
But we are giving away a copy of this book, and the way that you enter to win a copy of this book is by sharing our 5e Life Play Super Quest Saga on social media. If you're sharing it on Twitter, just leave the hashtag SuperQuest with a link to one of the episodes and or the playlist. And if you're sharing it on any other social media, just go ahead and email us proof that you shared it on social media, and yeah, that'll enter you in the contest. Contest ends on November 19th when the book is released, and we will be announcing the winner then. So yeah, please share Super Quest Saga.
Yeah,
That'll really help us out.
We're also going to be doing an Instagram post telling people about Super Quest Saga, tag 2 people, that sort of thing. You'll see it. So go ahead and check out Instagram too. 2 ways to enter, 1 prize to win.
Indeed.
Yeah, and it's all to spread the word about our D&D live play, actual play Super Quest Saga. It's a very cool sci-fi game that I love very much.
Me too.
The show? It's getting cold. Should we go give it a hug?
Let's go give it a hug.
I love you, show. Let's get back to it. We've returned.
Indeed, we have.
Are you okay, show? Nice and warm again.
Did you miss us when we were gone, show?
We missed you, show.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about Will-O-Wisps.
It's so soft. Oh, sorry, Will-O-Wisps.
Yes, Will-O-Wisp. So
Balls of ghostly fire.
Yeah, kind of. So Will-O-Wisps in D&D are malevolent and mysterious undead entities or spirits that haunt the lonely places of the world. Most famously marshes, but also ancient battlefields or ruins or forests or whatever. I think forests is pretty common.
The basement.
The basement, that would be unfortunate. They appear as wispy balls of light and are infamous for luring desperate and lost travelers to their unsuspecting deaths. They are based directly off of the mythological spirits from English folklore of the same name and many other names, actually. So Will-O-Wisps in English folklore had many different names depending on the region of the people telling the tales, including Will-O-the-Wisp, Jack-O-Lanterns, Ignis Fatuus, Friar's Lanterns, Hinky Punks, or Hobby Lanterns. So the origin tale of these spirits actually explain the name of said spirits. So these tales almost always featured protagonists named Will or Jack who are doomed to wander the marshes with only a single light for some misdeed or backfired deal with the devil.
Your name is Will.
My name is Will. So if I were to do one of these bad things and die in the woods, I would be cursed to become a Will-O-Wisp.
But what about the podcast, Will? Are you going to be able to handle that?
I would just be a ball of floating light telling people about my misfortunes.
But what about the black dragons or whatever the fuck? Anyway.
Well, you'd have to do the research.
Oh, damn. Yeah, you couldn't Google anymore.
I wouldn't be able to.
Maybe you could like voice command your
perhaps
Google Assistant or your Siri or
perhaps. So the word wisp was the term for a bundle of sticks used as a torch, thus Will-O-Wisp or jack-o'-lantern. So in folklore and literature, the Will-O-Wisp is essentially the same as the D&D version, a malevolent spirit that lures travelers to their death. So in D&D, Will-O-Wisps are described as these hazy balls of floating light colored either white, blue, green, or yellow, glowing as brightly as a flaming torch.
I see.
They can turn invisible and pass through objects and creatures. You know, they're ghost-like in that regard.
Hell yeah, okay.
They are produced when evil beings die in anguish and despair as they wander forsaken lands permeated with powerful magic. So a lot of very specific things have to come together to form a Will-O-Wisp. But D&D being what it is, it's actually not that uncommon, I would suppose.
Yeah, you can get lost in the mountains and die of dehydration, and you were just super evil. So now you're
Dungeons
floating
and
ball of
Dragons.
light.
There's a lot of evil beings, and there's a lot of dying in anguish and despair. There's a lot of forsaken lands, and there's a lot of
child theft.
There's a lot of baby theft.
There's a lot of references to 4E.
There's a lot of references to 4E, which no one talks about.
Demon Gorgon's in it.
There's a lot of lands permeated with powerful dark magics. So, yay.
Shout out to Demon Gorgon.
Shout out to Demon Gorgon. They are... So, okay, back to like how Will-O-Wisps are formed. They are the very souls of those who died. So it's not like... They didn't just come about because people died there. They actually are the souls of the people who died.
It sounds like in D&D, you die if you're destined to become a ghost. It's really the circumstances that determine what kind of ghost you become.
Pretty much,
like your
pretty
stats.
Much. Like there's a lot of don't make certain mistakes because you might become undead.
Yeah, like they're all like folk legends that are true. You know,
right,
like,
exactly.
Don't die wandering in the woods or you'll become a fucking ball of fire.
Right, exactly.
And we could talk to you, but it won't be the same.
It won't be the same at all. So, like I said, they're the very souls of those who died, and they are bound to the dark fate of feeding off the fear and despair of others. So, though it would, like I said, it wouldn't be the same. Though it would seem that the Will-O-Wisps are mindless creatures, this is not so. In fact, they retain their intelligence and the memories of their past lives, and they're simply malevolent by nature, and they use their cunning to essentially commit murder.
Oh.
So, Will-O-Wisps disguise themselves as things such as like a lighted window in the distance or a bobbing lantern of a traveler to lure the desperate and lost into natural traps such as quicksand or mud pits or rushing water.
Minotaur labyrinths.
Or Minotaur labyrinths, you know.
That'd be sick one. Like a team of Will-O-Wisps like feeding the Minotaurs sick fetishes.
I could see that, sure. Or
I
into
must kill lost travelers. Go with ball of fire.
The next thing I was going to say, or into the dens of dangerous creatures such as giant spiders, undeads, or hags, or minotaurs apparently.
Absolutely Minotaurs.
Absolutely Minotaurs. So as death looms over their unsuspecting victim, and the said victim begins to despair, the Will-O-Wisps will then descend upon the individual when they're at their most helpless and begin to feed off its energy and emotion of despair and helplessness.
Have you heard of the one where the Will-O-Wisp brings the the Will-O-Wisp exists in like a really, really docile area. There's like not any high places or like dangerous animals, but there is a coastal area. It takes the traveler to the coastal area, and then a siren comes out of the water and starts singing to him, and then they just kind of like hand it off and they go drown.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's a dope one.
Yeah, I like it. So, the Will-O-Wisp will actually delights in the sensation of drinking every last like breath of agony out of an individual. Like they really are nasty motherfucking creatures.
Oh.
And if the victim themselves is evil, they will become a wisp themselves and like join the wisp clan. So.
Join the club.
Yeah, indeed. Their soul coalescing into a flickering flame above its lifeless corpse.
Well, that was going to be my pro gamer tip. Was it for multiple wisps? You can just make them follow each other, and then like.
Well, no, the wisps don't do the following. They are the lure.
No, yeah, you gotta get one to lure another one.
Oh,
and then you gotta trick that one to lure.
Each other are people.
Yeah,
okay,
and then they'll just endlessly circle each other. I'm good at
endlessly
D&D.
orbiting. Yeah. You're really good at like the creatures canceling each other out.
In these specific scenarios, I mean, ghosts are kind of like they're really cunning and clever, but they're also like they kind of follow like these specific programming rules. You can manipulate them against. Yeah. It's good. So
though they rarely do, Will-O-Wisps can speak, and when they do, it sounds like a faint or distant whisper. Particularly clever Will-O-Wisps will actively seek out and form symbiotic bonds with or dark contracts with their wicked neighbors. So they have this ability to communicate and form contracts and stuff. So hags, onis, black dragons, evil cultists, etc. Though most wisps are solitary creatures, they are also known to work in groups of 2, 3, or 4. And
that always sound when they seal the deal, it's like sign here.
Right.
You sign your name in like a foggy, like tablet-sized fog.
Sure.
It is done.
Though wisps are fairly powerful creatures in their own right, they are extremely cowardly and will avoid combat at all costs.
Oh, okay.
So, any questions about Will-O-Wisps before we look at the stat block?
No, the stat block would be wonderful, please.
Oh, I think my camera stopped recording. It was recording just a moment ago, and now it's not.
Make it record again,
I'm going to make
Will.
it record again.
Do it again.
Here I am.
Hello.
Hello, me.
Good to have you back.
So, did you have a question? I didn't hear what you said.
No, I need the stat block.
Oh, you need the stat block.
It.
Let's take a look at it. So, Will-O-Wisp, challenge rating 2, tiny undead chaotic evil, armor class of 19, and I think this is just because they're so hard to hit.
It's because they're a ball of gas.
Indeed. Only 22 HP though, so like they have a strength of 1.
Okay.
So -5 to that stat. A dexterity of 28 though. My God, that is some min-maxing.
I am smoke.
Right. 10 constitution, which I think is unnaturally high for a ball of smoke, but whatever. 13 intelligence, 14 wisdom, 11 charisma. They are immune to lightning and poison. They are resistant to acid, cold, fire, necrotic, and thunder, and obviously piercing, slashing, and bludgeoning damage of non-magical weapons. They're immune to being exhausted, grappled, paralyzed, poisoned, prone, restrained, or knocked unconscious. They have dark vision, and they know all the languages they knew in life. So,
ever since I got lost in the woods and died, I can't lay down anymore.
Well, how do you lay down when you're a ball?
Yeah, exactly. Are you always laying down? Are you never laying down?
Oh, and they also
You're never
float.
laying down. Yeah,
they're
because you're
never laying
floating.
down. Yeah.
You can just be on the ground. That's not laying. It's not the same.
No, not the same.
Your back and spine are always
So
tense.
they have not too many actions, but they have a lot of like passive features, if you will.
Okay.
So the first one is called Consume Life. As a bonus action, I guess this is an action then, the Will-O-Wisp can target one creature it can see within 5 feet of it that has 0 hit points and is still alive. The target must succeed on a DC 10 Constitution saving throw against this magic or die.
Okay.
If the target dies, Will-O-Wisp regains 3d6 hit points. Now, this is where I could see like the Will-O-Wisp is not part of the combat until someone drops. Like you guys are fighting a hag in her lair, right? Someone drops to 0, knocked unconscious. Suddenly Will-O-Wisp
comes in
the
to
corpse.
fucking Death Eater your soul away.
Exactly. Oof, that's scary.
Turn your incorporeal form into ghost dust.
That is super scary. The next one, Ephemeral. The Will-O-Wisp can't wear or carry anything. I don't think that's necessary to state that. It's a ball of light. Of course it can't wear or carry anything.
They just like exist inside of like closed shops, and they share the space of the mannequin wearing the dress they like.
There we go.
And they look at themselves in the mirror longingly.
The next one is Incorporeal Movement, which the Banshee also had, which is they can move through creatures and objects. They take damage if they end inside something. Their last feature, Variable Illumination. The Will-O-Wisp sheds bright light in a 5 to 20 foot radius and dim light for an additional number of feet equal to the chosen radius. The Will-O-Wisp can alter the radius as a bonus action. So they can they can turn bright, they can flicker. I wonder, can they strobe? That'd be interesting.
Oh, absolutely.
Can they
Well, that's what happens when you pit them against each other in an endless circle of chase. They strobe.
I suppose Will-O-Wisps can also communicate in Morse code.
That's
also a thing
going to be my in-game initiative to get rid of all the Will-O-Wisps. Is to just like get a conga line going of Will-O-Wisps.
There you go.
Have this infinite large circle. Like we'll just leave this out. Just don't go to this spot where all the Will-O-Wisps like spiral around each other like a fucking galaxy.
Don't get involved into the death spiral. Have you seen ants that get involved in a death spiral?
A death spiral?
So
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. It's a thing. You can look this up on YouTube. I'm trying to remember the details. Where
after you're done with this video.
Yeah, after you're done with this video, preferably.
Don't go.
So
I know ants are
a lot
cool.
of time ants, the way that they maintain like their
the line
travel routes
yeah.
is through like chemicals being sprayed.
And they know when
whatever.
each other like have died and stuff.
But there are there's phenomenon that can happen where the chemicals end up like crossing, and all the ants that think they're following the route are slowly spiraling in a circle. that never ends.
Oh, God.
And it's called a death spiral because it's like the whole colony gets caught up into it and they walk until they die.
They just tornado themselves to death.
Exactly.
Oh,
they
shit.
tornado themselves to death, much like how you're describing your Will-O-Wisp conga line.
There's like, that's exactly how I'm going to kill all the Will-O-Wisps.
Except for they never die because they're undead.
Eventually we'll get a cleric in here to like
to figure out the situation.
Check it out, man. I got them all into one spot. Yeah, he's like,
I've never seen anything like this in my life.
Indeed. Please, I'm going to need some assistance on this one, pal.
Right, indeed. All right, so actions. Will-O-Wisps have 2 actions. First is shock. They can send lightning at people within 5 feet.
Okay.
2d8 lightning damage. The last one is invisibility. Will-O-Wisps and its light magically can become invisible until it attacks or uses its life drain ability, or until its concentration ends. But yeah.
Okay.
So
sweet.
Any questions about Will-O-Wisps?
I want to weaponize them in this like giant spiral that I've created in my brain.
Seriously. I like that just being like the landmark in the forest. Like, no, stay away from the center of the forest. There's a Will-O-Wisp death spiral. It's been going on for 200 years.
Yeah, you branch a hill and you like hear them all like whisper when they say, like, come down here and save us.
Save us from ourselves.
Save us from ourselves. And it's just like fucking it's a big party down here.
It's just a rave in the middle of the forest.
That's their new game is like they all realize what they're doing and they can't break the cycle and they're just like, come on, party with us. And then you go down there and you get fucking electrocuted.
Oh, that's great. I love it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think we could get ready for a long rest now.
Yeah, let's get ready for our long rest.
What do we want to talk about on our way to the long rest?
I really want to talk about oh man. The Dungeoncast@gmail.com. Email us there if you want to like set up ads or talk to us.
Indeed.
You can find us on social media.
It's true. We're on Twitter.
We have a Discord. All these links are in the show notes below.
Oh yeah, let's pump the Discord. The Discord's a really cool community.
I met 2 people from the Discord.
Oh, nice.
Prominent members of the Discord.
Join the Discord. You might meet Brian.
Yeah, we met at Disneyland. We're SoCal natives, so that wasn't hard at all.
Cool beans.
Well, for me, they flew in.
But there's all kinds of cool D&D conversation going on in the Discord too.
Yeah,
which is
there really
cool.
is. Yeah. I got their Super Quest Saga theories from them also.
Interesting. I want to know what they are because they're probably wrong, but I'm really curious.
I'll never tell.
Oh,
okay. I'll tell you after the show.
I was like, oh, I really want to know.
They were good.
But links in the description. Yeah, I highly recommend checking out our Discord. It's a wonderful community full of people that love D&D. They love the show, and they're just wonderful people.
Yeah, all that short rest love exists there. So
indeed, it's true.
Go get that that tender love and care that you deserve.
And with that being said, I think we can call it a game.
Goodbye, everyone.
We'll talk to you guys later.
Goodbye.
Bye.
The Dungeoncast.